Hello and welcome everybody, we are in week 4 of BBL Season 8, and tonight I will be playing as my primary team, the Super Duper Melonheads. We narrowly won last week, something along the lines of 19-17, so the Melonheads are now 2-1, tied for the division lead. Tonight we will be taking on the Green Monsters, coached by Commissioner Yuria. Monsters have been struggling with low scores so far. They are, I believe, 1-2 after the first 3 weeks of the season. As for the predictions for this matchup, is fairly evenly split, actually. But notably, this is the first week in which a majority has not predicted the Melonheads to come out on top. Instead, it's an 8-6 margin in favor of the Monsters. So, very close as it can get without being a dead tie. And interestingly enough, Shrewsbury, who currently leads the Predictor Challenge, has picked me to win. And I think Ace and myself are next up on the list, although there's a lot close, and we predicted the Monsters. Also, 6 of the 8 people who predicted the Monsters took advantage of their lower record and chose them as their upset for the week, so we'll see what happens with that. My own personal prediction for tonight, as you could see from the Predictor Challenge screen, I do think the Monsters are going to take this one, and the primary reason for that is I think that the Monsters are perhaps the single best-built team in this in the American League to counter my team specifically. The defense has really good range, which I think is going to be one of the most important things, especially their outfield has a lot of range, and for my flyball-dependent team, that is going to potentially be a big issue indeed. Also, I think the Monsters' highest score has been 8 so far this season, but I think that they are going to score a lot more than that on their side against me. I think they have the right lineup, especially with Stuart Sullivan and Star Moonbeam. I think they have the right lineup to perfectly take advantage of all the weaknesses in my AI defense. So I think the Monsters have a good setup here to win. That's not to say I couldn't necessarily have a good game here and win, but I do think that, especially with the fast outfield for the Monsters, and the fact that this is in a less favorable location in Dubois Diamond, I do think this is a game where there's not a lot of room for suboptimal play. If very much starts to go wrong, then this could be a very, very unimpressive effort from me tonight. So that's my thinking going into the game. There's one other reason why I think the Monsters are going to win, and that is because of the good and bad days that I rolled for here. On my side, Phil Nevin has a significant bad day. He does thankfully have his hitting ability intact, but he's nerfed down to 2 running, which means basically, he's going to be almost useless on offense if he's not hitting it over the fence. That's going to be a significant issue. The other significant issue, Todd Xavier, the Monsters pitcher, is buffed to 9 running, and also has a fielding buff. His slow speed is normally the big weakness for him, but now he is going to be a terror in the infield. I am just fortunate that the Melonheads don't hit the ball in the infield very much to begin with, but whenever I do, Todd is probably going to scoop up most of those. Between that and Marquis Dubois having the boost from playing in his backyard, I believe these are the Monsters' Round 8 and Round 9 picks, and seeing these stat lines from the Round 8 and Round 9 picks on the opposing team, that's a pretty good signal that you're in for a rough time. As for the rest of the Monsters' defense, they do have Ruby Diamond, this season's custom player, who's designed as the perfect catcher, an arm perfectly calibrated to be the best at throwing runners out, trying to steal second, so steals are off the table for this game, at least until and unless she ends up on the mound. Otherwise, solid infield, Randy, Francesca, Fernando can all get to the ball in decent time and throw it along well. That might keep me from 1 or 2 runs on plays. Also, it looks like Marquis is going to be the first relief pitcher if I force Todd off, so that'll be something to keep in mind as well. As for the outfield, Star Moonbeam and Stuart Sullivan are the left and right fielders, and that has a potential to be a big headache because they have 100 speed, so excellent range out there in the outfield. It's quite possible, I think, that I hit a lot of balls that might be good with most outfielders, but that they'll be able to catch. The biggest factor in this game will be how many balls the outfield catches and how many they drop. If they're dropping a bunch of balls or just barely not getting to them, I might be in good shape, especially since Star and Stuart don't have very good arms. But if they are getting to them and successfully catching them, not making errors, then it's not going to be a very big game for the Melonheads. And finally, Claudia Villarta, the center fielder, Ken Griffey Jr. clone. Good range, maybe a propensity to drop the ball, we're not sure, with a generic clone, and a good arm to get the ball in. So, Overall, very intimidating outfield here from the monsters, and as the Melonheads mostly hit the ball into the outfield, could be a problem. Alright, as for setting up my team, so I think, yeah, Lindsey has a small fielding boost. That's the only other good or bad day on the team here. Phil Nevin is not playing center field. We are not at the alley anymore. Gonna move him to third for this game, out of the way. Fabian will play second, I think. Stan and Jay will have to hold down the fourth in the infield. And I will move Sheila to center field for the most range there, Shane in left, and then Dimitri in right, where he hopefully won't have to do too much. I will not be giving anybody $20 if there's a pig shot. Sorry, I am not inclined to be giving out money that way. And I have one shift to make for my lineup this game, and that is to move Jay Green and Lindsey Felgate, swap their positions in the lineup. At Dubois, I want more home run power if I can get it. I think Jay is better at pure home run hitting than Lindsey is, so I'd rather have him batting more times. Lindsey will move down to 5th for this game. She will be back in the number 1 spot by the next Tin Can Alley game, if not sooner. Rest of the lineup I think is fine for the setup. Phil, maybe potential for double plays with Heather, but the only way to shift it around to avoid potential double plays with these kids is to just completely wreck the synergy I'd otherwise have in my lineup. I don't think it's going to be worth it. End of the lineup's a good spot for Phil with bad day, though. Alright, so I think with that, finally enough talk, let's get into the game itself and see how well we can do. First at bat for this game as the away team. I do get the extra inning to hit in, which I like more than the home team multiplier. So Jay Green leading off. We'll see if we can get a leadoff home run to start us off on a good note. Long drive towards left center. Nope, it's a leadoff flyout to Star Moonbeam. That is not a good note to start this game on. Looked like it would be at least off the fence, but not quite. Star had the range, she was there, so... Folks, this might not be the greatest game for the Melonheads. Sheila Basanti up next, 625 average. Did amazingly on my first game, more mixed success in the games after that, has especially had a propensity for strikeouts so far. The nice thing about this team, even Sheila and Shane, who I picked as my speedsters, have decent power. They can push the ball past the infield pretty easily, which especially with Todd's boost might be annoying. Todd walks Sheila on 5 pitches. He had pitched 1 pitch before this at-bat, so 4 of his first 6 pitches are balls, and that puts Sheila on first base for free. So, runner on first with 1 out, Dmitry Petrovich a hitter. Dmitry and Stan are perhaps the biggest question marks for me in terms of hitting against this outfield. I'm not sure if they'll be able to hit it just right or not. Todd is having so much trouble hitting the strike zone here. He's having a great day, but it's 2-0 on Dmitry. He hasn't even hit 10 pitches yet, and he can't seem to hit the strike zone to save his life. There we go, strike 1. And inside for ball 3, so 3-1 the count. Is Todd just going to walk the second and third batters of this game? Give me those easy bases to start out. No, he's not. Gives a meaty one. Unfortunately, Star is right where Dmitry hits it. Fortunately, she drops it and flubs the throw to second. Everybody is safe, and that is a good sign. If we can get a lot of those this game, that'll be good for our chances. So, Dmitry reaches first on an error, so we have runners on first and second with 1 out. Fabian Callahan, the hitter. And swats one to deep right center. That's going to land, and it's going to land over the fence. 3-run shot for Fabian Callahan. Melonheads are on the board early. We're feeling good. Only 263 feet, not the most impressive shot ever, but it was a home run, and that's what matters. Fabian delivering and doing exactly what I drafted her to do. And that brings up Lindsey Felgate. Top player on the Melonhead so far, but at Dubois against the fast outfield, she's not quite as guaranteed of a hit as she would be at the alley. Take strike one. Could use power. I'm always wary of using power with Lindsey because she's so good with line drive as it is. I'm just worried that I'll use power and just waste her on the pop-up. Fouls it off. Strike two. Almost a beautiful hit, but timing slightly off. Todd's already expended 15 pitches in this inning, and there's only one out. Looking like a nasty corner pitch. Lindsey is able to put the bat on it. Going to Todd. He's got it. Doesn't laser it to first. That gives Lindsey enough time to leg it out for a single. Runner on first. Still just one out. Shane Smith, the hitter. He had a meh first game, but I believe has not gotten an out since week one. He has been phenomenal at the alley. We'll see how he does here on the road. Fouls off the first pitch. 0-1 the count. Would love to steal second here, but the Monsters have the anti-stealing second catcher, so. Bit worried here with my timing. It's working so far, but that one is just barely grabbed by Todd in a diving stop as it was about to go past him. Might have been straight to Francesca and an out anyway, but still, never fun to get the out. Heather Quinn now the hitter. We'll see if this is out number 3 or if she can find a gap to put the ball in play and continue this going. Got a bunch of hits off of power-ups in week 2, but got some legitimate hits last week. Heather is definitely not the worst hitter out there. Hits one. Unfortunately, this goes straight to Francesca, but Francesca missed a throw and then throws to second on the bounce, which gives Heather time to reach first for a single. Inning continues then. Runners on first and second. Stan Olafson, the hitter. Now we're in a bit of a tough situation because we need to get Heather to second base safely. The hardest base to get a player to, so we're going power and hoping for a big bomb here. Even though normally I prefer line drive with Stan. And that's hit big. Not big enough, though. Claudia's moving. Will she catch it? Claudia will catch it, and that ends the inning. Quite a few hits, but ultimately could only muster 3 runs there. Still a good start for the Melonheads. Feels like we can accomplish things to this game. And that is always a good feeling. Going to the bottom of the first. 3-zip. And Star Moonbeam leading off for the Monsters. We will have Phil leading off in the next inning, which is not the greatest situation. Star places a bunt. Lindsey is able to field it. Heather steps off the bag, but is still able to put her foot on it just in time for the first out. Marquis Dubois, the hitter. And swings and misses for strike 1. Second inning will be leading off with Phil, followed by Jay, and then Sheila. Heather steps off the bag, trying to back up Jay, but is able to get back in time to catch it for the second out. Claudia Villarta up 111 average in the AI side. I don't think we ever determined if there's really a correlation between their AI simulated performance and how well they're likely to do in the game. I know it was suggested before that, like, because of her low average, I couldn't expect Claudia to do worse here, but I don't know if that was ever confirmed. Could use heat for the strike 3, but don't trust a power hitter to not slam a heater. Instead, grounder down the first baseline, which Heather is able to field, so we are perfect in the first. Going into the top of the second, looking for a couple of bombs to start us off. It is 3-0 Melonheads. Todd Xavier threw 24 pitches in the first and didn't get any strikeout stamina boosts in the bottom of the inning, so should be starting to tire out some. Phil smacks one into center, but not going to be in a spot where it's a likely hit. Claudia had plenty of time to prepare for that one, and it is caught for the first out. Brings up Jay Green, who flew out to lead off the game, hoping for a bit more distance this time, or whatever will get him to base. Fouls one off for strike 1. Takes strike 2 on a nasty corner pitch. Gonna have to choke up, go for the contact swing. Hits one, that is gonna land. Unfortunately, it is Claudia going for it, so it will be getting back into the field quickly. Jay holds it first. If it was Stewart going to get it instead, then we could have gone in 2, but oh well. Brings up Sheila Basanti. There's some temptation to swing grounder here. Try for a perfect one up the third baseline. Last time I tried swinging grounder with Sheila, though, it didn't go well. This is a nothing ball, which fortunately bounces just foul, otherwise that would have been a super easy out. Good news is, with both the hit runner and the hitter being speedsters, we are extremely unlikely to get a double play here. Sheila takes strike 2. After struggling to hit the strike zone early on, Todd has found it now. Randy is there to catch a pop-up for the second out. Lots of balls being hit so far conveniently close to fielders, making it hard to put out too much, but we won't give up hope for this inning yet. Dimitri, the hitter, hit a single to set up. Single on an error, but still, we take what we can get, and it set up the home run in the first inning. Looking to get a hit here to keep things alive in this half of the inning. Grounds one down the third baseline. Unfortunately, it stops right before Randy. She is able to throw to second in time to end the inning. So second inning dominated mostly by hits that were just to the wrong place. If I hit too many more of those, then this game is going to dry up for me real quick. And once again, putting one of my slow power hitters up to lead off the next inning. Not the most convenient there, but what are you going to do with that? Anyway, bottom of the second now. Randy Uno leads off for the Monsters after having turned to the third out immediately prior. Looking for a strikeout to get some more juice here. Jay's stamina is a little low after he hustled to try to make it to second in a failed bid last inning. Unfortunately, it's just a freezer, which is not going to help us in that regard at all. Francesca Whitaker, the hitter. Can tell the Monsters lineup is pretty good because Todd does, even boosted to 9 running, Todd doesn't get a spot in the top half of the lineup. In the spot that the AI sets. Fouls one off for strike 2. And just barely outside. I'm not sure that was a ball, but game said it was, so we'll have to take that. Don't have a choice. Pops one high into the outfield. Fortunately, Sheila has very good vision and can get under it. Unfortunately, it does bounce. She was not quite underneath it, but gets a one-hop and holds Francesca to a single. Maybe a double play setup with Ruby Diamond as a hitter. We shall see. Double play would certainly be useful here. Ruby Diamond is, among other things, very short, which makes her throws that much more accurate, but makes her that much easier to overthrow. In any case, any hopes for a double play are dashed as Francesca successfully steals second base on the first pitch. Forgot briefly I had Lindsey as a catcher. Lindsey is not someone who catches him stealing, but Fabian with the perfect play at second there. We're going to need a clip of that. Catches the ball, tosses it to second in time to catch Francesca, so in one fell swoop ends the inning. A wonderful play by Fabian, who usually isn't the one you associate with the Gold Glove plays, but she was in the right place at the right time. We have a screamer to use later on. With Star and Stu in the outfield, that could be helpful. Not as helpful as Aluminum Power, but we take what we can get. Better, I think, than a Crazy Ones, at least. Fabian waiting for something that looks meaty. Todd throws 2 balls. Todd had a short second inning, and then saw a strikeout happen last inning. So, doing better at stamina a bit, probably. Todd isn't a player I really think of as really getting super tired out anyway. But we'll see. Count is 2-1 now. Fabian looking for the solo shot here. Takes strike 2 on one that didn't look too promising. I feel like that would have been a pop-up. Has to swing at a corner shot, though. That is a beautifully placed one towards the outfield, but Star's range does make the difference. Good news is, that was Fabian, so she probably wasn't going to be... She was going to have some trouble on the base pass if she didn't make it to base, but still. Star making a difference here for the Monsters. As Lindsey Felgate, the hitter, pops one to center, but it is straight towards Villarta. Villarta drops it this time, though, so we get the reprieve here. Again, my performance, I think, is heavily reliant in this game on the number of drops that this outfield gets. If they can keep doing that, we're golden. Alright. Gonna go for a grounder strategy here with Shane. This might be the perfect circumstance for it, but nope. Nope. Yes! Oh, just barely. I thought it was too close to Todd, but he's getting tired out. The throw doesn't make it on time. Lindsey slides into second, so we do make it. Shane with a single. That'll probably tire Lindsey out some more, but we now have runners on first and second with one out. Heather Quinn up, and she's got a screamer. Sends it towards right. Jam's doing the head, but actually a good play there by Stu as he was able to deflect the ball to bounce into the infield. Not the most normal baseball strategy, but it worked here. Get the ball to... Use your head to deflect the ball into the infield instead of going further out. Shane probably would have scored otherwise. Still, Lindsey does score to make it 4-0 on an RBI single by Heather Quinn. And I don't trust Stan on power here. I'm going to use line drive. But we're going to hold out for the walk if we can get it. Nasty corner pitch by Todd. And take strike 2. 1-2 the count, so power wouldn't have worked for us anyway. Ooh. Nasty corner pitch, and Stan swings right through it. Todd with a super nasty strikeout there. And there are 2 outs. Phil Nevin gonna need a monster hit here to keep us going. Good news is, even though Phil is up and Heather's on first, there's 2 outs, which means no chance of a double play. Hopefully a home run here to put a few on the board. Maybe a single. That bats in Shane. We'll see. Jay Green is on deck. So that's decent news if he just singles. Or draws a walk, as it might be the case, as Todd throws 3 straight to make it 3-0. I mean, we'll take a walk. We'll take a walk. Todd walks Phil on 4 pitches, and so Phil does not get the chance for a pig shot. Or any other sort of shot. Walks the bases loaded, and that means Jay Green is up, folks. Bases loaded, 2 outs. We're either going to go big, or we are going to be sad. Jay 1 for 2 today with a single, but has a chance to really get something done here. Jay has not been quite the super producer that for me that he was for the Diamondbacks last season, though. Marquis Dubois coming on the mound. A crazy ball, which unfortunately gets fouled off by Jay. If we could have hit that one out, that would have been really nice. All right. Marquis tiring himself out early, though, here on the mound. Ooh. That one was scary, but it was outside for ball 1. Todd Xavier now playing first, where he's kind of tired out. It can maybe make the difference on a close play. Jay pops one. That is going to be in the field. Will Stu catch it? Stewart does catch it. So... unfortunately, Jay cannot get it done here. Flies out instead for the 3rd out. So Melonheads load up the bases, but still only get out with 1 run in the 3rd inning. But we tired out Todd, brought Marquis on the mound, started to tire him out. Progress was made. It is now 4-0 Melonheads in the bottom of the 3rd. Stuart Bunsen gets out. Yeah, this is the problem I seem to have, is most of the really big-name players, the ones who should be doing really amazing, like Jay Green and Julie Dunkel and Henri Deschênes, I have trouble producing consistently with. Jay has 1 for 3 with 2 flyouts so far this game. Julie this season is, 5 for 12 with 2 legitimately good hits after 4 games. So, I don't know what it is exactly, but I just struggle to produce with the big name players. Except Lindsey. Lindsey is a rock star. Anyway, while I'm ranting about that, Jay was able to strike out Fernando for the 2nd out, bringing up Todd Xavier, who would have been scarier to have to bat at the beginning of the game, where his speed boost was in play. Now, though, he's pretty tired out, shouldn't be much of a threat here. And Jay did get the more juice, which is always good news to see. Now, to be fair, I don't think Jay had the best pitch to work with there when he flew out. On the other hand, that crazy ball, I think he should have knocked out easily. So his fouling that out was definitely a case of Messing up the opportunity there. Todd watches strike 3 go by, and we are done in the third. Jay has given up 1 hit so far, and that's it. Going into the 4th inning, hoping that Todd coming off the mound is a sign of a new surge of offense starting for our team. Score is currently 4-0. Sheila's up. Grounder worked with Shane, but that was with Todd still on the mound. With Marquis on the mound, I think there's too much chance of hitting it too close and just getting an easy out. I don't think grounder is the answer here. Meant to swing at that one, didn't move my mouse up enough, so I shifted to close instead. 0-2 the count. And Sheila whiffs on one in the middle of the strike zone, her average plummeting as she gets a strikeout this time. Sheila has been striking out a lot this season, for whatever reason. 1 out as I made a couple of dumb mistakes. Dmitry Petrovich now the hitter. Need him to get on base if we're going to accomplish too much here, and Fernando runs but does not get the ball. Single for Dmitry. And Fabian Callahan the hitter, 1 for 2 today with 1 barely caught by Star and 1 hit out of the park. Let's see what happens this time. As long as it's not a ground ball hit right into the ground for a double play, we'll be okay. Hoping for the home run, of course. We always hope for the home run with Fabian. Marquis pitches one in the corner for strike 1. 1-1 the count. One looks promising, but Fabian just fouls it off. 1-2. And fouls another one off, keeping the at-bat alive, tiring Marquis out a bit more, trying to make him throw a good, meaty pitch that we can knock out of the park. Maybe should have changed stance there, but no, maybe not. Fabian does a good job of pulling it. That is over the fence. Fabian with her 2nd home run of the game. She's up to 5 RBIs, likely to be player of the game this week. 2-run shot, and it is now 6-0 Melonheads. Fabian putting in work. A few more runs on the board, and I will feel like we'll be feeling like we have a decent chance of actually winning this matchup here. Not the best chance, because I do still feel like it's likely that the monsters will go to town on my AI, but we'll see. Lindsey now up, and I am feeling like swinging big here. Swinging big was a mistake. Goes straight to Marquis, but Todd can't get to the base on time. Lindsey beats it out for a single anyway. Good hustle by Lindsey. That's the 2nd time this game that she has started to flub one, but legged it out to get on base anyway. Runner on first, 1 out. Shane Smith up. If he can get on base with a base hit, we might be in good shape. Unfortunately, I only got the 1 screaming line drive used for Heather. Worst case scenario with that, so we won't have the power up to use with her. Star drops it, and Lindsey has enough time to hustle to second. Another error by the outfield, and we have 2 on, 1 out. Heather Quinn is a hitter. 2 for 2 today. Let's see if she can make it 3 for 3. Doesn't need too much, just a good hit in the gap, especially if we get one between Francesca and Randy over at third. Then we're golden. Ooh, I thought that was going to be strike 2, but nope. Outside for ball 1. Right side of the field, we don't so much want to hit it to. That probably gets Heather out. Once again, I don't change stance when I really should have. Ruby is unfazed in the onslaught. Unfazed in the close play, is able to throw the ball to first correctly, but Todd drops it. Heather makes it, and we have the bases loaded with only 1 out. Stan is up, Phil on deck. Let's see if we can lock in some runs here. Going with line drive for Stan, just going for the good contact, and we get the good contact. Fernando jumps on it, he'll be throwing Heather out. At second, Shane not able to score, but still gets another run across the plate on a fielder's choice by Stan. It is now 7-0 Melonheads. Maybe I should have swung with power for Stan on that one. Probably I should have. Oh well. Phil Nevin now up. Drew a walk in 4 pitches last time. And it's almost there. Ruby flubs the throw and lets Stan steal second base. All right, then. I'll take it. Runners on second and third. 2 outs. So Phil does have to hit one that lands and isn't then one that can easily have him thrown out at first. But if he does succeed at that, we have at least 1 run scored here. Quite possibly 2. Fouls one off. I'm feeling confident enough here I'm going to switch to line drive. I think if he gets a good hit... I think he can make it to first base. Jay Green's on deck. If Jay Green can't hit one out this time, then whatever. Screw you, Jay Green. Phil smartly takes a zigzag, which is tiring Marquis out further, no doubt, and then fouls one off. 2-2 still the count. Swings a bit late, but is still able to put the bat on the ball and foul it off. 2-2 still. Phil keeping hope of score more here alive. I'm not sure if that one would have been a strike 3 or not. And a bizarre play here. Star uses Francesca as a cutoff man. Stan gets caught between bases, but ultimately does retreat to second safely. But Star was closer to third than Francesca was, but she still used Francesca as a cutoff with her poor arm. Phil was safe, though, and Shane went across the plate, so it is now 8-0 Melonheads. Jay Green up with 2 on, 2 out. He was in a similar situation last inning. He flew out to end the inning. Let's see if he can live up to his promise this time. He can! That one is going. That is nowhere close to Star. 3-run home run for Jay Green. Reigning MVP strikes again, and it is 11-0 Melonheads. .328 feet. I believe that's the longest home run so far this game. Dubois isn't one for super long home runs. No true monster shots here, but several that were enough to easily make it over the fence. That was one of them. Would have been nice if he had gotten the grand slam last inning, but he got the 3-run shot here. Still hopeful. And it is 11-0. Sheila is now up for the 2nd time this inning. She struck out before. See if she can do better this time. Also, we'll see what happens to the Monsters pitching. Marquis was her only other pitcher. Claudia Villarta comes on, which means Marquis is now playing center field, depending on how tired he is. That could be a significant development. Now, with Claudia on the mound, I definitely don't want to hit any little grounders in the infield, because she is going to be all over them if I do. 1-2 the count. Sheila has to swing. It was not a good pitch to swing on. Sheila strikes out yet again. Sheila just cannot seem to put the bat on the ball right now. And so that will end the inning. Still, a 7-run 4th inning. We are now up 11-0 with 2 innings still to score. This game is going better than I expected. The Monsters are not not quite the Melon Slayers I expected them to be pre-game. Star and Stewart have cost me a couple of outs, but they've gotten me just as much by dropping balls. And my team has been able to deliver with the long bombs several times. That's always helpful. I'm not the best at hitting a ton of home runs, but when I do accomplish it, then that is usually a big part of my scoring. Star managing to deftly avoid the strikeout so far. Fouls another one off. This will become the 6th pitch of the at-bat. Never great for Jay's stamina, but he does have the juice box to fall back on. That one goes outside for ball 2, and so enough games. We are ending this at-bat. Star Moonbeam struck out on the fireball for the first out. If you want someone struck out right, just bust out the fireball. Marquis Dubois now up. Is bound to be somewhat tired after a bunch of pitches, including a couple of power-ups on the mound. But how tired is a question. If we get a preview of that here, that would be useful. To know how he's going to look in center field. If he's significantly tired out, then that could open the door for a lot more hits, especially from players like Dimitri, who is batting leadoff in the 5th inning. Dimitri, Fabian, and Lindsey is our lineup going into the 5th. And It might well be if Marquis is tired enough. If Dimitri can just get one into the gap, that he's got 2 bases easily. And that would be a great start to the inning, whether or not Fabian goes yard. Claudia Villarta takes strike 1. 0 for 1 today, 100 at average on the simulated season. Not having a great time here. And hits the ground ball straight to Jay for the 3rd out. Not getting any better this at bat. Jay with just 1 hit allowed through 4 innings. Pitching an excellent game here so far. Going into the top of the 5th. Melonheads with 11 on the board. Looking to tack on as many more as we can. We'll see. Usually I'm only good for 1 big rally a game, though, so I might not only score a couple of any more. But we certainly hope to do as well as possible. Dimitri batting leadoff is 2 for 3 today with 2 singles. Doing a solid performance here. Hits this one into the ground, though. Claudia is there. And Todd is able to make it to the base in time. Dimitri is out. I feel like swinging at that pitch was a mistake. Or swinging at the timing I did was a mistake, and I realized that as I was hitting the ball. First out, not a great sign for the inning, but we will see if we can bounce right back here with Fabian up. She is 2 for 3, has hit 2 home runs so far. Let's see if she can get another one. 1-1 the count. The Monsters are out of strong pitchers here. So that could be promising as well. And that one's going long. That's at least off the wall. It is off the wall, unfortunately. Not going to be another home run for Fabian. But it is going to be a single. Marquis not looking amazing there in the outfield. So, single for Fabian, and Lindsey is up. The risk here with going for power is we could just hit a fly out and be stuck with Fabian on first, Shane up, and 2 outs. But the potential reward is hitting a home run. Fabian scores, and we only have 1 out still. That's a risk I'm willing to take. Unfortunately, it looks like it'll go on the bad side. High pop up here. Claudia does catch it. Fabian is able to avoid the double play, but it looks like the Melonheads will not be scoring in the 5th. I am very wary of swinging power with Lindsey. Maybe should have gone line drive, because she can blast home runs with line drive too. But, oh well. Goes that way sometimes. Shane Smith now up, looking for the perfect hit that somehow allows Fabian to make it to second base safely. With Fabian's extremely slow speed, and second base being right in the middle of everything, that is rare indeed, but if we can hit one into the very, very corner of left or right, we could accomplish it. Or if we draw a walk. Although that brings up Heather Quinn, and that will also be a tricky situation. Take strike 2, 2-2 the count. We are hoping for a walk here. We also don't really want Heather to be leading off the next inning. Heather's not a good leadoff hitter. Fouls one off to keep things alive. Takes ball 3. Doesn't get greedy at the juicy outside pitch. Full count for Shane. Payoff pitch. Taking, and my judgment is proving correct. It is ball 4. Shane takes his base. We get Fabian to second. If nothing else, we at least now will not have Heather batting leadoff next inning. And we'll see. 3 for 3 today. Only one of those hits was with a power-up. If she gets a good one up the gap into the middle, this could keep going. And she hits one in the gap into the middle. Is it well enough? Francesca's there. She's got it. Flubs the throw. Is that going to be enough to get Fabian to third? No. Fernando recovers. I didn't rush Fabian because I was afraid of getting Shane into a bad situation. Probably should have rushed her. Almost made the miracle hit. Not quite. And so Melonheads are done in the 5th. No runs scored as both Lindsey and Dimitri were unable to get a good hit. Almost made it, and man, I feel bad now that I didn't rush Fabian there. Heather has been doing great this game. That would have made her 4 for 4 on my 9th rounder, so yeah, I don't regret picking Heather. Not at all. Jay strikes out Randy to open up the bottom of the 5th with 1 out. And Francesca Whitaker, the hitter, got the 1 hit for the Monsters so far this game, which ended up turning into a double play. Looking forward to the 6th inning. We will have Stan hitting leadoff, followed by Phil Nevin, and then Jay Green. So, lots of potential power there in the lineup. Jay did get the more juice here, so that is good news. And if nothing else, we'll get another chance for Jay to show some power. Francesca strikes out on the 4th pitch. 2 outs, and Ruby Diamond, now the hitter, lined into the superb double play by Fabian. Fabian is almost certainly player of the game here. She has done quite well at the plate, and the home run, the double play should seal the deal. Ruby should be out on that play as Stan makes a play in time, but Heather drops it, so Ruby lit on first base. The inning continues. Fortunately, Stewart is coming up next. He has not gotten a single hit all season so far, and with a not super fast runner, although Ruby was running awfully fast. The not super fast runner on, Stewart having no power to speak of, should be a routine third out, and it is, even though Heather ran off the base and avoided getting out at first. She's able to make it to second in time. A little bit of instant there, but no lasting damage done by the Monsters. As we go into the 6th inning, Melonheads hoping to make a big splash here near the close of the game. Stan is up. He's only 1 for 3 today with a single. On a field like this, I haven't figured out yet how to super effectively harness Stan and Dimitri's bats. Just gotta get lucky and hope for the right gap. Stan made it on a fielder's choice in his last at-bat. It was a good hit there. If he gets a hit like that here, I think he makes it to base. Claudia doing a decent job on the mound. 1-2 the count now. I better focus. And that one is going to be intercepted by Claudia, who waits for long enough before throwing it to first. 1 out. The really lousy thing about having 2 strikes on you is you have to wait you have to swing at it if it's in the strike zone. You can't afford to wait anymore for a beautiful looking pitch. Phil gets a beautiful looking pitch there, smacks it. Unfortunately, doesn't smack it far enough. Marquis just has to move over a bit, and he is under it. Melonheads came out big in the 4th, but the bats have been drying up since then. No good hits. Just a couple of nice gap shots by the weaker hitters is what we've got. So, well, Fabian got a good hit. Anyway, Jay Green is now up. 2 for 4 with a homer and a single. Looking to make it 3 for 5. Jay has been just kind of okay in the away games here. But he did hit a 3-run home run in his last at-bat. Take strike 2, it's 1-2 now. Is Claudia going to pull off the stopgap job on the mound here? That's a slow-mo, but I think it's going to be... No! It is in the strike zone. Deceptive slow-mo right in the corner. Super nasty pitch by Claudia for strike 3. And that is the end of the Melonheads' chances to score. 11 runs our final total. Some bad luck with getting just not great hits. Some poor decisions with base running or when to swing or whatever. And a couple of just supremely nasty pitches for strike 3 that I had no defense against. There, maybe Jay could have hit it if I'd swung. I thought that one was low, but the slow-mo does appear a bit lower than I think it actually is. Anyway, Jay hoping to put a lid on things here in the bottom of the inning. Now 2-2 on Fernando as he can't quite get it in the strike zone for strike 3. Resorts to his old friend the fireball, and Fernando is down. 1 out. 2 to go. This is a good enough score that I have a shot at winning. If the Monsters struggle, I have a chance at winning. If the Monsters play as well as I could play, then I'm dead meat. So we will see. As long as I don't give up any runs here, Yura has to score at least 10 runs, which is more than he's scored in any game so far. I do have probably the weakest defense in the league, but hope springs eternal. Todd is fanned for the 9th strikeout of the game for Jay. He's only given up 2 hits, no runs. Might be a candidate for the pitcher of the week for the AL this week, especially if he makes it an even 10 here. Star Moonbeam now up, has gotten 1 strikeout. Swings for strike 1. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Looking to end this in style with a fireball. Success! Strike 3. Star got no defense against that. Jay's 10th strikeout, and with that, this game comes to a close. The final score for this one, Melonheads 11, Monsters 0. This was good. This is a Melonheads' best score yet in a game away from Tin Can Alley. So that's a good sign, especially since this was against a team that I thought should be my kryptonite. I think that's a sign that we have the potential to do well against any team in the league here, except maybe the Mariners, because the Mariners are OP. But yeah, very encouraging on the whole. We did solidly. We have a shot at winning. That's all I can ask for here. Of course, it would have been nice to have some runs in the 5th and 6th innings, but then again, some bad play on my part, some bad luck, some supremely nasty pitches. On the around the league schedule, anything too interesting here? Royals lost, which is about accurate here. Wombats shutout, Giants shutout. Blue Jays with the top score of the week here, beating the Bombers 12-1. I will be very surprised if that happens in the real league. As far as stats here, almost everyone got into the action. Poor Sheila was the only exception. Well, she did walk actually, so everyone got on base at least once. Sheila struck out twice, which brings her total for the season of strikeout. Okay, only 3. Still, 11 strikeouts in 4 games is not a good sign. This team needs to not be striking out if we're to be successful. But yeah, Lindsey continuing to do well. All singles this time, but still 3 for 4. Continuing to be very good for the team. Heather gets a special shout out. Almost went 4 for 4. Was a couple of clicks away from being the only player on the team to get 4 hits, and that's with only 1 power-up. So Heather putting out an astounding performance this game. Very good. Unfortunately, she was the only player not to score with her slow speed and lack of batting right ahead of power hitters being her undoing there. Jay Green, excellent performance on the mound with only 1 over the minimum faced. 2 hits allowed, only 10 strikeouts, but the player of the game for me today is Fabian Callahan. 3 for 4, an off-the-wall single and 2 home runs, batted in 5 of our 11 runs, and had a beautiful double play in defense to get us the power-up that allowed Heather to bat in another run. So essentially 6 runs that Fabian was responsible for in some way here. Excellent game from my favorite player. Very pleased with that. Alright, then next week we will be going to Playground Commons and facing off against our division rivals, the Twins, who so far, we'll see how if that stays the case after this week, so far they're winless. Hopefully this will be a chance to further cement my grip on this division over everybody not named the Devil Rays. Playground also I think should play well to my team, so we'll see how that goes. Until then, thanks for watching everybody.